Welcome to Module 7, Calculating Your Flat Fee. I know this is what you've been waiting for, so let's go. Remember, the types of fees you can have when you're in design. Hourly, you'll have an hourly rate. When you go to flat fee, you might have a flat fee for e-design. You might be able to calculate a flat fee by hours, or you might choose to calculate a flat fee by square footage. Those are all valid, and I'm going to break each one down for you to help you figure out how you might use it in your business. Let's start with hourly, because as I've said before, even if you do not charge hourly, you still need to know what your hourly rate is. You need to know at the end of a project, once you've figured out your revenue and total hours, when you divide all that up, you need to know if what you're making an hour as a business is profitable for you, is acceptable. So let's talk about how to figure out an hourly rate. And it's not necessarily by looking around you and seeing what your designer friends are charging or Googling it, because I can tell you those numbers are not accurate. But it really is about figuring out what your expenses and costs are and working backwards. So let's jump into that. I'm going to walk you through an example, but it really is just 4 steps. So one at a time, we're going to figure this out and get you to your hourly rate number. Step 1 is to calculate your expenses. So for a year, factor in things like rent, utilities if you have them, computer software, legal fees, all the things that you're going to be spending to keep your business afloat. And then also add on to that what you are hoping to take home as a salary. Now, we're calculating this based on you being solo. Of course, the numbers will be different if you have a team, if you have multiple people, but for the sake of simplicity, let's pretend it's just you. So let's imagine overhead expenses for a year, $20,000. And as a first year business owner, you want to take home $65,000. That gives you total expenses of $85,000. Good. Step 1 done. We survived. Now let's talk about adding a profit margin onto that. I have gone with a profit margin of 50%. If you are doing only design and you have no cost of goods, your profit margin should probably be in the 70 or 80% range. If you are selling a ton of product and design fees are less of your business model, 30 to 40 might be a happy place for you in terms of profit margin. I landed on 50 just for the sake of this demonstration, kind of in the middle. So let's say we want a 50% profit margin. That would be $85,000 times 1.5 is 50%. And that takes you to the number of $127,500. All right, there we go. Expenses with our profit margin. We need to make $127,500 in a year. Now, we all don't work and bill 40 hours a week, 52 weeks of the year. As the owner of your firm, as principal lead designer, typically we can expect to bill about 50% of our time. Sometimes it's higher, but I think that's a pretty safe estimate for the sake of this. Not only are you designing, but don't forget you are marketing, you are doing emails and administration and all that stuff. So let's say you're billing 50% of your time. A work week is typically 40 hours. Half of that, 50%, would be 20 billable hours a week. That's a good goal to have. Let's take those 20 hours a week and let's multiply it by 48 weeks a year. Yes, there are 52 weeks a year, but don't forget about holidays, sick days, time you will be closed, days your kids are sick and home from school, whatever that looks like for you. So I've done this with an estimate of working 48 out of the 52 weeks a year. 20 hours times 48 weeks means you have 960 billable hours a year. All right, you've done the hard work. Now it's time for the fun stuff and actually figuring out your rate. So to calculate your hourly rate, you take that big lump number, $127,500. Remember, that's your expenses plus your profit margin. You divide that by the number of hours you are able to bill in a year, 960, cha-ching, and that takes you down to an hourly rate of $132. Seems reasonable. Now, that formula, it's going to take you a little bit of time to dig into it. Maybe you plan to bill more or bill less time. Maybe you plan to take more time off, or you're only billing 10 hours a week because this is part-time. Whatever it is, figure it out for a year, get that number, and just see how it feels to you. I remember when I first went out on my own and I was working with a business coach, she had me do this exercise, and I think I landed on a number of about $99 an hour. And I could not believe it because at that time, little naive Leslie, I was charging like $30 an hour for freelance work. And so the thought of increasing my rate to $99 an hour was a big, deep breath moment. But this is the real talk. These are the numbers, and you are qualified. You are worth it. Nobody is going to take the principal designer of a firm seriously if they're billing out at $75 or $99 an hour. 132, good reference for this exercise. And there you go. That could be your hourly rate. That's a good starting point. And if that is your rate, great. You let clients know our hourly rate is $132. We will invoice you every month for design time. You've got that locked down. Now let's talk about e-design and how to do a flat fee for that. The reason I'm differentiating e-design from what I've called design only before, e-design, when I'm talking about that, I'm referring to a service where it's, not very hands-on. You're working exclusively over email, text, or video. The clients are doing a lot of the legwork, so there's fewer meetings, there's less detail in the design. It usually doesn't involve construction, and no travel for you. So for me, that's a slightly lower fee than our other projects. So basically, to calculate a flat fee for e-design, I simply took the hourly rate, multiplied by the estimated hours, and added a little buffer because you never know. Plus, you have to make sure you're factoring in the cost of mailing materials to the client, printing, all those other things. So for this example, let's say it's a living room e-design. My rate's $132. I'm multiplying that by 15 hours. That's how fast I think I can do a living room decorating project. And then I'm adding a couple $100 more. It's about 2 hours as that buffer to make sure that I just have a little bit of time to cover myself. And that brings my e-design fee up to $2,244. Some of you might be going, yeah, that's reasonable. Some of you might be thinking, holy crap, I can charge that much for e-design. Absolutely. It is still you. It is still one-on-one design, and they are still getting your expertise. Don't be swayed by all these low-cost e-design companies you're seeing online. They are in a totally different market. You do you. This is your business. You get to run it your way, and you get to charge what you are worth. Let's talk now about calculating a flat fee simply based on hours. So say you have a full service project, you would take your hourly rate, multiply it by the estimated hours you think the project will take, and then once again, add the buffer because life happens. So let's say this is a living room, but it's full service. There's more drawings, there's more meetings, there's more FaceTime involved. Hourly rate of $132 times an estimate of 32 hours. And then I've added $660, another few hours worth of buffer on there just to cover my butt. That would bring that design fee to $48.84. It's simple. This is not rocket science, but I know the hard part is looking at these numbers and actually saying, okay, I'm going to write that on the proposal. I'm going to let the client know this is our fee. Let's talk now about calculating flat fee by square footage. I do like this model because bigger rooms do often take more work, but on the contrary, smaller spaces like a bathroom or a kitchen may not be huge in square footage, but they do have a lot of detail. So it's worth playing around with these numbers to make sure that you are calculating at a rate that makes sense. And in my own business, I often have a rate for kitchen and bath and other spaces because the square footage, a 250 square foot kitchen is a very different design need than a 250 square foot living room. And you shouldn't be charging the same thing when the kitchen is so much more work. So let's talk about the square footage calculator. Here's how it works. You basically take the square footage of the space by the square footage rate that you have figured out makes sense for you. And there's your number. So for example, a 250 square foot space, your rate is $25 a square foot. And that comes out to $6,250. Now, the great thing about this is you can work backwards and check it against your hourly rate. Does it make sense for you? So if you look at this and work backwards, $6,250 divided by your hourly rate, $132 equals 47 hours. If that feels like you're on the right planet for that project, that's a good place to be. I always work both ways. I do the square footage calculator, and then I work backwards and figure out how many hours it takes because I want to make sure that it all makes sense. It should. One number shouldn't be way up here and the other way down here. The more you do this, the more comfortable you get, the more experience you get, the more data you have behind you, the easier this is going to get and the more confident you're going to be with these numbers. Now, you've probably noticed I've given real life number examples, but I haven't said this is how you should do it, or this is the exact number I charge for this. And you're probably wondering, Leslie, can't you just do this for me? And the answer is no. I wanted that so badly when I was starting out. I wanted someone to just say, here's what you need to charge. But I can tell you, it's really important to figure out what feels in alignment for you, for the clients you serve, for the location you live, for your expenses, for your needs, for how you package and present all of your offerings. All the tools here, all the information here is a starting point that I want you to start with, because I understand a lot of designers are new and just don't have any data to know how to do this. That's why we're giving you some tools to get started. But the more you can track your projects from start to finish, even if you're flat rate, like I keep saying, track every hour, pay attention to how many hours you're spending on design, how many hours are for procurement, how many hours are supervising implementation. It's tedious, but it is worth it, because as you track all your hours, you will get more data. And the more data you have about your specific business, the more accurate you can make all of these calculators. Now, your homework, because your brain's probably ready to pop out of your head right now, I want you to determine your hourly rate. Go back, rewatch this, look at those 4 steps. Even if you have to estimate, it's okay. Start somewhere, get something, and from there, you can always course correct. Your hourly rate's not on your website. You don't owe anybody any explanation. You can change it from project to project as you adjust and you learn. The first thing I want you to do is determine your hourly rate. The second thing I want you to do is download the flat fee calculator and start playing around with it and plugging in your numbers. Figure out what your square footage multiplier makes sense for kitchen and bath or for other spaces, and just start putting numbers in and see what fits. That's honestly how I did it. And I don't think there is a one size fits all formula. So please take the time and figure this one out for yourself. But we have provided a flat fee calculator for your reference. And the third thing I want you to figure out is which of these pricing models will work best for you. Which make the most sense in terms of what your clients will react best to, that's most profitable for you, that's most comfortable and easy to adapt for you. It might still be hourly, but you might be feeling like you could confidently go towards a flat fee. So put some thought into this. I know this is the biggest, beefiest module. You have made it through. Go get that homework. And we're going to talk about some fun stuff in Module 8, when to collect payment. You figured out your rates. Now, how does the client pay you? Let's dive into that next.